All right, welcome to the video, guys. Salt here. Today we're going to be looking at the Spira Prime. Now in this video series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors like Warframes doing damage, Warframe abilities, pets putting statuses on enemies, anything like that. I just test the weapon by itself, and I let the viewer come to their own intelligent conclusion about things like, hey, Salt, put fire rate on this weapon, and maybe I'm using a Warframe that gives me fire rate, so maybe I don't need to have that fire rate mod on the weapon. Things like that. So, all right, let's get into the Spira. So the Spira is a secondary thrown dagger, I guess you would call it. It's not really a throwing star. It's like a daggerish thing. It's a very pretty weapon. It looks very nice. I feel like this weapon has a lot of fashion frame potential. Now let's get into the actual build. Okay, so interesting things about the Spira is that it's silent. That's the first thing. So it can be used on stealth missions if you want to use it. It also has a very high critical multiplier, base critical multiplier. It's not the highest, like things like the nuke core are still higher, but it's very high. It's one of the highest. And also it has like a weird effect where when you hit enemies and they get killed and they'll go flying backwards and get like stuck onto the wall. And actually, as they're flying, when they hit other enemies, they'll do damage to them. When I was doing testing, I couldn't really see like how much that damage was. I couldn't like tell what damage number was what, so I don't know how much damage it does really, but it's just interesting. The other interesting thing about the Spira, now this isn't Spira exclusive, but it's something you could use on the Spira, is there is a mod for thrown weapons, and the Spira is in this category, and that is going to be concealed explosives. I tested this. This is absolute doo-doo tier. This is horrible. So apparently the actual AoE damage does not scale with mods or anything really. It must honestly just be the unmodded values, because the target I was actually shooting at was taking the appropriate damage like it normally would, a few thousand damage per hit. And then guys around it were taking like 6 damage and 9 damage, like absolute horrible values. And so the explosion AoE must be based on the unmodded weapons. So absolutely garbage. The other problem with concealed explosives is that it has an extreme AoE. It's actually very, very big AoE. And so it's extremely easy to self-stagger yourself. It's surprising how large the AoE you get with concealed explosives is actually. So very easy to self-stagger yourself. So it's not worth using. You get extreme low damage out of it, and you'll be just staggering yourself over and over with that. So I just wanted to put that out there because this mod can't really be put on a lot of weapons just because it's only for throwing weapons there. Okay, so let's get into the actual build here. It's going to be Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot. Galvanized Crosshairs for crit chance. When we're at full stacks of Galvanized Crosshairs, this is going to be about 50-50. It's going to be about 50% red crits and 50% orange crits. When you're below 5 stacks, it's going to be primarily orange crits. And then like 3 and under, you might start seeing some yellows as well. But if you can stay at 5 stacks of Galvanized Crosshairs, you're going to be seeing oranges with also a lot of reds, about 50-50 on those. Prime Pistol Gambit for crit chance. Prime Target Cracker for crit damage. Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot. Hornet Strike for flat damage. Pistol Pestilence and Frostbite to make our viral. So this is the 60-60 Toxin, and this is the 60-60 Cold. So we're going to make viral there. It doesn't have a super respectable status chance. It's actually kind of lower, But the viral procs you get will help. You know, you do have some decent multi-shot there. So the viral procs, you will get. By the time an enemy like gets killed, he'll have like 4 to 6 viral stacks on him. So it's still worth putting viral on the weapon. Next here, we're going to have lethal momentum for projectile speed. And then secondary deadhead for our arcane slot, which is going to give us 360 flat damage and a plus 30% headshot multiplier. The negative weapon recoil, this weapon doesn't have recoil, so that doesn't really matter. So that is the build for this weapon. What we're going to do is we're going to do a 10-minute Kuva survival on Steel Path, of course. We're going to kill some trash, kill some acolytes, see how this weapon performs. And then we're going to do a 10-minute Lua Conjunction survival and do the same thing. It's just that the enemies are going to be a bit different. They're going to be higher level enemies, and we're going to be forced to fight Thraxes on Lua Conjunction. So, and because I'm not mixing this with any kind of external factors, I'm just going to be doing this on a big dumb Inaros with no Archon Shards. No mods on the Inaros that, let me go to my weapon test here actually. No mods on the Inaros that affect weapon damage. No Arcanes on the Inaros that affect weapon damage. Sentinel with no weapon, and no mods on the Sentinel that affect weapon damage. So let's get into the Kuva survival here.
Scans show Grenier are harvesting Kuva nearby. Set off the alarms to draw them out. Then
I'm going to cast my 4 to double my armor, and that'll be the last time I use an ability.
predictable. As expected, Grenier have shut down the environmental systems, sending
You're going to want to aim in with this weapon because of galvanized crosshairs.
new environment or attach Kuva catalysts to begin harvesting.
Get some stacks of diffusion and stacks of scope up, or crosshairs, whatever it's called for secondaries. And you just want to aim head height. This is a interesting weapon. It's not bad. It's an okay weapon. I just feel like it's a little bit boring of a weapon. I think it makes for some... I think like the best use of this weapon is going to be like for fashion frame. You know, in specific fashion frames, of course. Not everyone's going to want to use this. It's a very pretty weapon. What just exploded? I just saw enemies explode. I don't know what caused that. I'm trying to... I could have swore I saw a large pack of enemies just explode in front of me. And I'm trying to figure out why that happened. Maybe there was like an explosive barrel somewhere I didn't notice? I don't know. So we haven't really got up to 5 stacks of scope there. So you haven't really been seeing any reds. Let me try to aim a little bit better and get some headshots here. I might have to take back the red crit thing. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's a orange and yellow crit. Maybe I was mistaken. Maybe when I was doing the testing, I had a Darza on from yesterday. I hope that wasn't the case. It would still be built the exact same way. It's just that instead of getting reds and oranges, you're going to be getting oranges and yellows, and maybe primarily oranges once you're full 5 stacks. Let's see, though. Let's see if I can get to... I'm at here 3 stacks. Yeah, I think a Darza might have messed me up from yesterday. I think I still had a Darza on when I was doing these tests. Nothing changes, though, with the build. It stays the same. I'm going to go hit some life supports here before I forget about them. In this series, I want to cover all of the Steel Path viable weapons, and so like some of these weapons are just going to be kind of boring weapons. I hate the term boring, but it kind of is the Spira. I feel a bit of a boring weapon. I mean, it kills these enemies pretty quickly. If you get headshots, it'll kill them in like 2 hits. It's just that it's you know, it's a little boring. All right, we have the Acolyte coming. I do not remember how well this does against the Acolyte. Sometimes when I do my testing, I leave the Kuva Survival. I do testing in the Simulacrum, and I also do testing in Kuva Survival here. And a lot of times when I do the testing, I leave before the Acolyte spawns. So I don't always do full testing on the Acolyte. That's doing respectable damage. It's doing respectable damage against the Acolyte. Not amazing. I mean, this is not an Acolyte destroying kind of weapon, but it does okay. All right, so the Acolyte is down. What really hurts secondary weapons, I'll tell you what really hurts them, is they don't have a good punch-through mod. They have a punch-through mod, but all it gives you is punch-through. It's not like the primaries that have Shred, where you can use Shred as your fire rate mod, and you also get punch-through. It's like a little added bonus that's amazing. With secondaries, you just have punch-through on the punch-through mod, and it's not really worth putting on the weapon. So single target secondaries are usually pretty shitty. Just because of that. If they had a better punch-through mod, they would be just as good as the primary punch-throughs. Primary single targets with punch-through, I should say. But we're going to try to get as many kills here. We're going to see where we are at about 10 minutes in. So when I do these tests, average weapons are usually like 350 to 400 kills. And, you know, weapons that are, of course, above average are way higher than that.
Extraction is your best option.
I'm going to hit both of these life supports, and I'm going to meet that pack of enemies kind of halfway in that hallway back there. Got my weapon stolen. We're at 8 minutes in. Gonna hit one more life support right here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I did my testing, I had a Darza on. That's probably why I was thinking it was red crits. So disregard the whole like red and orange crits at 50-50. At 5 stacks, I believe I was seeing like full oranges. Let me try to get there again. Yeah, almost full oranges. You still have a little bit of yellows. All right, we're almost at 10 minutes, and then we're going to head out. I'm not really too worried about life support. I don't care if we run out, because at 10 minutes we're leaving anyway. All right, 10 minutes in, we are at 243 kills. That is below average. That is well below average. So this is a below average weapon, which I kind of felt like it was going to be. It's also a little bit of a boring weapon to use. And it's kind of annoying that it has a pretty high zoom amount there. I hate weapons that have like high zoom, especially when they don't seem like they need it, like this weapon really. So we'll do the 10-minute Lua conjunction. We'll see how far we can get there. Average weapons sometimes fail at the 5-minute mark because they have to fight Thraxes, which are a little bit stronger. And I have a feeling this weapon probably will fail at the 5-minute mark, and that'll be okay. It's kind of to be expected with average and below average weapons. So we're going to do Circulus, which is higher level enemies. They are 180 to 200. And they're going to be mixed enemies. They won't just all be Grineer. They'll be Corpus, Grineer. I think some Infested too. Corrupted, basically. So I'm going to cast my 4 to double my armor. And that'll be the last ability I use. Everything else will just be the weapon. All right, I have a feeling we're going to be chasing life supports on this map here, just because we're not going to be producing a lot of the yellow ones, because we're not going to be getting as many kills as some weapons. So I'm going to try to pull this group to the first set of life supports. Sure, I have all those yellows in there. I'm going to head out here. I'm going to hit this first one. So every large life support gives you 30. So don't hit it unless you're at 70. Sometimes you want to go below that too, just in case you pick up a yellow. Like right there, but that's okay. And they usually spawn in sets of 3, and they're usually about in the same area. So the next 2 life supports will spawn in about the same area in this room ahead of us here. Got my weapon stolen from behind me from the Drakmaster. I'm going to kill that Drakmaster so he doesn't keep doing that. Because I need to produce as many kills as I possibly can to stay on top of life support. Getting some of my Nora weeklies done, it looks like. All right, let me hit that life support right here. Perfect, we're at 99. Try to get some more kills here. Acolyte can spawn anywhere, like I think it's within 3 to 8 minutes. So we could get an early Acolyte, we could get a late one, could get a normal one. The normal Acolyte on this map actually kind of sucks, because if he comes in about 5 minutes, then we have to fight him and the Thraxes at the same time. So usually you want a late or an early Acolyte. Oh, these balls keep staggering me. I'm like, what the hell is staggering me over and over again? It's these stupid rollers. I can't remember like when the Spira came out. Like maybe it came out with Mirage, but I feel like it's a very Mirage weapon. It's a very like clown jester type weapon. Like I said, I don't think it's a very good weapon. It's also kind of boring to play, but it has some fashion frame potential. And I think like for a jester look for Mirage, it might be pretty cool. All right, so that's the 3rd life support we hit in this room. So I'm going to try to kind of pull them to this next room. I'm going to have to do it a little bit slowly, though, because there's like a maximum amount of spawns. And if I just run to the next room, there's not going to be any enemies there for a long time until all these guys move over there. So now they're starting to come here. I'm going to pull them in this hallway. Because we still need to be killing. We still need to be producing the yellow life supports. Because we're not going to be able to live off of the big life supports here. All right, Thraxes are going to be coming. Let's head to that room. Let's fight the Thraxes in the room with the life supports. I'm actually probably going to hit this too. All right, let's like fight the Thraxes in this room here. At least this one will stay in one place. Balls are hitting me in the leg here again. Oh my goodness, this is such a dirty fight here. I have the balls hitting me in the leg. I'm running out of life support. I'm getting staggered. These enemies must have like radiation procs and are fighting each other, so they're not facing me to get headshots. Oh my goodness, I'm going to run out of life support here. No. All right, let's try to get in here. Get these Thraxes down. At least we got a late Acolyte. It's one Thrax down. Where is the second guy? Is he invincible? Where's that? No, he's not dead. He's somewhere. Maybe he is dead. I don't see him on the map at all. Okay, let's keep producing yellows. I'm pretty sure I only killed one Thrax. I just don't know where the other one went. And there is the Acolyte. So we're gonna run out of life support here. What we'll do is we'll kill this Acolyte, and then we'll head to extraction. I don't know what happened to that second Thrax. So this is Mania. Mania sometimes, yeah, he's using the Zephyr Turbulence buff, so it can't actually do damage to him. So if that continues, I may have to go to melee on him, unfortunately. Okay, Zephyr buff just went down on him. I think he just put the Zephyr buff back on him. Yeah, I'm going to have to melee this guy to death, unfortunately. The Zephyr buff is just annoying. And I will probably die here. I did. Face tanking Acolyte is never good. And I kept getting staggered over and over. So, let's revive. Let's head to extraction. And then we'll go over the build one more time for the Spira. If anyone wants to build it. It's a weapon you probably should get, and you should build. Maybe not build out, but you should build for the mastery. Level it to 30. But the actual weapon itself is pretty... Let me see here. I was at 136 kills in, what was it, 7 minutes we got to? So really low kill count. Really boring to use too. Like, there are some weapons that are below average or not good, but they're still fun to use. This weapon I don't feel like it's fun to use either. It's a unfortunate story. Okay, let's go to the Spear here. So the Spear Prime, it's a secondary throwing weapon. It looks really pretty. Like I said, I think it would look cool on like Mirage as a fashion frame. And then the build for the Spira is going to be Galvanized Fusion for multi-shot, Galvanized Crosshairs for crit chance, Prime Pistol Gambit for crit chance, Prime Target Cracker for crit damage, Lethal Torrent for fire rate multi-shot, Hornet Strike for flat damage, and then we're going to use these two mods right here to make viral, Pistol Pestilence and Frostbite to make viral, Lethal Momentum for projectile speed, and then Secondary Deadhead for 360% flat damage and a 30% headshot multiplier. So this weapon is a below average to maybe even less than below average weapon. It's also very boring to use. It also kind of is painful to use because you have like a zoom mode in it, which like the weapon doesn't really need zoom, so I don't know why you have to zoom in so far with it. And of course, if you're going to use Galvanized Crosshairs, which you should, because the whole shtick of this weapon is that it has a way higher than normal critical multiplier, so you're trying to get higher crit tier. So if you're going to use Galvanized Crosshairs, you really should be aiming in, and then you have to deal with that like increased zoom, which is really annoying on this weapon. So this weapon, I would recommend building it, leveling it to 30, and then maybe, maybe keep it, but just maybe not build it out. Unless you have like some extra formulas, maybe you don't build it out, because even built out, as you saw, and this isn't endurance. This is just regular like starter steel path. So starter steel path on Kuva Fortress is like 130. Starter steel path on Circulus is like 180, 200. So it's not very high enemies. And on lower steel path enemies, it's doing really poorly. So this is one of the weaker weapons in the game. It's still steel path viable. You can still kill steel path enemies with it, but it's just going to be a little bit painful doing it. So that is the Spira. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like it, give it a like. We're getting close to 500 subscribers soon. Soon we'll get there. So if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. Or if there's anything I can do to earn your sub, please let me know. And thank you so much for watching, guys. You have a good day. Bye.